Do, 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 do. Do, do. Oops, I got a title on here that shouldn't be on there. Hello, everyone, and I'm live all by myself today. Boo-ha-ha-ha. The first time in over 12 years. We've been doing this for 12 plus years, so it was bound to happen, but as they say, the show must go on. Um, it's been a very interesting season. We've had a lot of movies coming out recently. I don't know if anyone's gone out there and had the chance to check them out. There's been the Kobayashi's Dragon Maid movie that came out. Unfortunately, the closest theater to me was over 4 hours away, so I couldn't make. Oh, someone joined.
Hello.
And I was just talking about the Kobayashi movie that came out recently.
Oh, neat.
I didn't get a go, so not much for me to say.
Same.
And I believe, what's it called? Chainsaw Man is out coming right now, right?
Yeah, I went to see it in the theater yesterday.
So there's also that, yeah.
Okay, I gotta fill out the spreadsheet.
I gotta make your character.
Yeah.
I was
I
just mentioning
completely
that.
forgot about it today.
I was just mentioning that we've been doing this for 13 plus years.
Wow.
Yeah, that's crazy, don't you think? That we've been together talking about anime for so long.
Yeah, I know. Well, there's a lot to say, I guess. Let's see, how are these ordered here?
The titles are by Japanese order because that's how the icons appear, so it makes it easier for me to find the icons.
Okay, let's see. And we're using numbers this time?
Oh, are you on the wrong tab? There should be an OreAni tab.
Oh, you know what? I am. Sorry about that. No wonder. These are not alphabetical at all.
Let me move you over here. There we go.
Okay.
My OBS, like, it crashed a while ago, and it reset all my settings, so I have to redo all the settings.
Hmm.
So hopefully everything
That's
works.
gotta be a pain.
Put Jessica there.
Okay.
But
Trying to be.
let me move that. Sorry. But
Oh,
I'll
no, I
just
was
talk.
just saying I'm trying to go through these quickly,
I'll just start at the
filling
top
them out.
then as you fill it out.
Okay.
So as you can see, oh man, that's really small title, isn't it? No, no, no. Let's move that over there. There we go. See if we can get this any bigger.
I have to remember what all I dropped. Cycle.
Well, the first title I'm going to talk about is Past the Monster Meat Milady,
Okay, I haven't seen that one, so go ahead.
or Akujiki Reijo to Kyoketsu Koshaku Sono Mamo no Watashi ga Oishiku Itadakimasu. So, um, I don't know what drove me to pick this, but I decided I was going to give it a chance and watch it. And surprisingly, it's one of the top rated movies for me right now.
Really?
Yes, as far as romance goes right now for the season.
Hmm.
Or um, basically, the main character. Um, I honestly can't remember their names right now. She is known as uh, the voracious villainess because in her area, and she's also known for eating monster meat, and that's actually looked down upon. Eating
Hmm.
monster meat is shunned and seen as something very bad. So she's avoided by a lot of the other people. I believe her families are counts. And because of this stigma, she is kind of gotten to the age where she should be married, but no one's coming or getting close to her. So her family's given her the ultimatum that at this next party, if she doesn't find someone, they're going to send her to, the church to become a nun or something like that, right? What do they call it? Like the covenant or something like that?
Uh-huh.
So, of course, she doesn't want that. And you find out that this is actually because of her parents. Her mother has died, and she's actually has a stepmother, and I guess her stepmother's the one that's really pushing this. So, but at the party, they're attacked by monsters, and they're saved by this one dashing young man who everyone fears as the blood mad Duke. So everyone's afraid of him, but she was captivated by his ability to slay these monsters. And as he saw her, he noticed that she wasn't afraid. So, and even with the blood splattered on her, because she's used to it, because she kills, she butchers monsters to eat, right? So, by this unnatural meeting, they just kind of have this small connection, and she kind of introduces him to monster meat, and it's actually super delicious, and they make it seem this way, right? So he decides to take her as his fiance, and that's where we are right now. We're going to see how this goes. Will they be able to stay together? Will people look at them even, look down on them even more? He is a duke and she's a count, so there's also that status. But, well, it's interesting to see how the story's going to go. And their romance, their connection with each other is pretty nice. I mean, it's not like super forced, but they do have these like moments where they just kind of like stare at each other, kind of like you see in those shows, like come on. But it's very nice, and it's not too bad, especially in this fantasy setting. It's not an isekai; it's pure fantasy, and it's done pretty well. Of course, you got all of the other characters being the Bishonen, right? The beautiful males.
Oh yeah.
All around her, so you do have quite a few of those characters popping up as his aide, and so I'm expecting a lot more. So I guess we can kind of almost call this a reverse harem, but we kind of know that she's going to be with the Duke right now.
Mm-hmm. He's endgame.
Yeah, so it doesn't seem like anyone else is really trying to get close to her, but we'll see. I kind of don't like calling them harems when there's a pairing, but there are a lot of other guys there. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So, it's been pretty fun, and I'm excited to watch it every week. I'm like, oh, is the next episode out? So it's been one of those shows for me that's like, this. I did not expect this to be as good as it was going to be, and have fun with it.
That's always a pleasant surprise when that happens.
Yes. So it is, I guess, based off of a light novel. So, and I think it's pretty obvious with how the storytelling is, but yeah, I like it. Going down the list in alphabetical order, we got the next title, which is the Ansatsu. Give me a second, let me go pull up the title so I can read it. Ansatsusha de aru no status ga yusha yori mo akiraka ni tsuyo no gada. I'm saying that really bad. Sorry. It's so weird how it's written. But my status as an assassin obviously exceeds the hero's. And I actually did not want to watch this, but it was chosen as our anime night title, so I'm going to be watching it. Because it's it's your typical, I guess, shonen or seinen. I don't know how I want to name
Is
it. You
it
know what I mean?
isekai?
Yes, the whole classroom gets isekai, but our main character is one of those students that's doesn't really stick with the pack. Is always kind of overlooked. So he gets the class of assassin, and his concealment skill is like through the roof. They do have some kind of sub story going on where the kingdom, you can tell that they're fishy, that they're not telling the whole truth, that they're hiding something. You know, that they're trying to do something with these summoned people, but we don't know what yet. And our main characters decided that he's going to try to get down to the bottom of it, and then also hopefully find a way to get home. But during this whole plot that's going on in the background, one of the main knights is killed and blamed on him, so he ends up having to leave. Now he's on his own journey to find the truth, while the others are kind of hypnotized or cursed or something to kind of follow the orders. But not everyone. There's some that have kind of escaped from it. But we'll see what happens in the rest of the story as it goes on. But it's so mediocre, you know, for the isekai fantasy thing. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
So I'm like, okay, like I would understand it and have more fun with it. I think if it was just one of those types that are like silly dumb and we're just having fun, but I think this one's trying to be real serious about it. You know what I mean?
Oh, no.
So, of course, he meets an elf in the dungeon. Now he's meeting all these other people to join his harem. I would almost want to say, but I don't know so far
Yeah.
how it's gonna go. But
You should make a bingo card of isekai garbage tropes and see how many you can check off with this one.
That's a good idea. But and obviously he's also super OP, but they do kind of put a stopgap on that by saying it's too overpowered, that he can't control it 100% yet. So so we kind of have that. So he has all these like OP powers, but he just doesn't have access to a lot of them right now. So we'll see how that goes though. Yeah, that's Assassin. I mean, it's obviously going to have a lot of fans, and I think it's actually going to do really good. But just to me, it seems to be one of those titles that I'm like, I'm kind of done with this right now. Like, maybe if it was last season or 2 seasons ago, or there's nothing going on, I would probably be more into it. But right now, it's just kind of like, next up, I'm going to take a quick look. Oh, you haven't watched too much.
No, this has been not a exciting season for me personally. Just hasn't been a lot that I've clicked with.
Maybe I can talk to you about some other shows and get you into it.
Yeah, maybe you can convince me to add something to my slate.
So I don't know how you are about like cutesy anime.
I like them. I mean, yeah, I watch them. I'm nothing against it. It's not my go-to genre, though.
Because we got Little Miss Vampire Can't Suck Right, or Chanto Suenai Kyuketsuki-chan. And I guess monsters in this world are more commonplace than not, and they're integrated to society. Now they're still like a minority, so they're not like everywhere. But it just so happens this one girl, what was her name? I think it was Luna Ishikawa. Okay, I pulled it over here. Yeah. She just so happens to be going to this. I believe they're in high school, and she gives off this persona of the cool beauty, you know, where you can't get too close. It's not like she's piercing, gazing at you, but everyone kind of admires her from afar because she's this beautiful, fragile thing that we can't get too close to, and people talk about her all around, and she's always nibbling on something, always eating something. And one boy, Otori, decides to confront her, and she finds out that she's actually always hungry because she can't drink blood from people that well. She has problems with it, and she's too embarrassed. So she decides to become her training partner. And this is the only part where it kind of gets weird, is that while she turns chibi, like super small, as she's sucking on his arm for blood.
Huh.
But that's not the weird part. The weird part's Otori, as he kind of goes into his fantasy mind where he's like, she's sucking my blood. I feel like a mother. I'm like,
what? So there's definitely something psychosexual about it.
So it's so weird, but it's funny. I don't know how to explain it, but afterwards, his arm is just full of band-aids because, she's bitten him multiple times trying to get a good grasp. But it seems it's going to be a funny comedy. It kind of started late, I think, because it's only 2 episodes of yesterday. I think the 3rd one came out today.
Mm-hmm.
But it's silly fun, and it seems like it's going to be just craziness, and I love shows like that. So I think there are other monster girls, but we just haven't met them in this show, so we'll see about that. But she is kind of opening up to the class a little bit more, and she has mentioned the truth in the 2nd episode that she's not really good at sucking blood, but we'll see how things go as the story progresses. It just seems like it's going to be just a school comedy with hijinks ensuing with her trying to learn how to and I think there's also going to be kind of like a subplot of like Otori and Ishikawa kind of falling in love. Who knows, right? But that seems to be the typical thing that happens. Oh, Albert came in. Hello.
Hi, Albert.
Are we live?
Yes.
All right.
Here, let me put Albert in here.
Stop.
So that's that show. We're talking about Little Miss Vampire Can't Suck, right? So
Not watched it, so it's all yours.
yeah, I think we just finished. Trying to go through some of these a little fast because they're not like worth a lot of talking about, especially with the start of the season, right? Just a little bit of information about it. The next title is Dad is a Hero, Mom is a Spirit, and I'm a Reincarnator. So this is one of her isekai shows again. Not much to say about this. The isekai person is this little girl that's traveling around with her father. Her father's finally come home, and her father, of course, being the hero, which is in the title, has been away for a long time, I think 10 years, because he's been trying to acclimate the new powers within inside of him that he received by becoming one with the spirit, the mother. And he's finally come home, and it seems like there's a lot of issues going on at home that he may have to help. But it seems that the daughter hasn't really been in the forefront of this title. It's been mostly the family members and everyone getting together, and we do find out that because of her, Ellen, the daughter, she has a special ability where she can kind of cast and create things from nothing. So like at one point she creates diamonds and has them raining down like rain during a wedding. So she's able to create things through chemical elements in a way, and she even kind of explains it, as she's creating the spell, how she's making these elements and things. But so far, there's really not much to tell what kind of story this is going to be. Is there going to be a main evil? Who is she going on an adventure? I don't know. So, not much to say about this, but we'll see what happens as it goes on. I may drop it, but I don't know.
Yeah, you should drop it. Because I've read the manga. I read the first volume of the manga and got boring really quick because there is no threat. Everything that she and her family can do is way OP. So it just lacks any kind of real conflict or sense of danger, and it just becomes very repetitive that she can use some of her modern knowledge as a reincarnated person to then affect the magic that she's able to do, and it's just a rinse and repeat. So I of this season, I would probably, I mean, unless you're really bored and really need an isekai, OP isekai, I would not continue.
All right. Thank you
But
for that
that's
information. Um, the next title on this list, just going to mention a little bit. It's called Chitose-kun wa Ramune bin no Naka or Naka, sorry. I think I've read this manga before, but not a lot of it. And as I was watching the anime, I remember some of it, but not a lot. So a lot of it was still somewhat new to me. But the way the story and everything is playing off, it's so awkward to me. It's like all these people within this school are playing characters. They're not being like a real high school student, like. And also, it seems that the main character, Chitose, has a strange philosophy that he tries to live by, which is the driving force for everything that's going on. But it's just so weird how it's pushing him to do things. Like, even though he's like, I don't want to do this, and then the teacher's like, huh, can you really not do this? And if you're going to live by your principles, and he's like, ugh. So he ends up, kind of being forced to do it by trying to live true to his principles, which is something weird. I can't even remember what it was. But the first episode is like almost 1 hour. I think it's the 2-episode part. I do want to watch more of it and check it out because it seems very awkward. Even everyone around him has all these exaggerated moments and sayings, and it's just so weird. I kind of want to see what's going on. Like, is this really how students are? Or is it in this world? Or is it everyone's really acting because they're trying to hide something? Next up, we're going... Oh, wow, you're watching this show?
What was that? Nosha, yes, it's...
Nosha? It's based on a game, right?
It's based on a game. I haven't actually played the game, and I'm not sure if I like it or not, but I'm hardly watching anything this season, so I figured I'd watch episode 3 and see if I'm still interested after that. But it's basically the game of werewolf, where one person is the quote-unquote werewolf in disguise, and they're gonna kill everybody if you don't figure out who it is, but it's in space. And there's a few things that I don't really get with the story because they didn't explain it too well. It's basically a group of people, 5 people. One of them is the Nosha, which is the werewolf thing. And they vote every so often on who they think the Nosha is. And they put the person that gets the most votes into cold sleep. And then the cold sleep computer tells them if they're Nosha or not. And so I'm thinking, well, so what happens if they put someone in there and it turns out they're human? Can't they just wake them up and bring them right back out again? But they're acting like it's a permanent thing. Where, oh, we voted you off. We put you in the cold sleep. The computer says you're human. Well, I guess we were wrong. We gotta vote again. And I'm just really not sure if I missed something or if the metaphor or the setting doesn't really work all that well. Because in my head, they should just space them like in Among Us. That would be kind of permanent. Well, because then there would be some stakes, right? Because with putting them in cold sleep, they're still alive. They can be woken up at any time, as far as I'm aware.
Yeah, so it doesn't seem that you can because there are other people in cold sleep, right? So why don't they, put all of them and bring out 5 new people, right? And just exchange parts, but you can't do that. So I think there is something about you can't pull people out of cold sleep and randomly. So it just seems the setup maybe wasn't explained very well. I haven't actually watched it. I just watched other people talking about this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Maybe
yeah.
it could also be kind of maybe like a time thing where if they put them asleep, they have to be asleep for a certain amount of time before they can be taken out of stasis
It
for
could be.
safety reasons.
I just wish that the show had made that clear, because since they haven't, because in a story like this, you have to establish the rules very early on so that you know what they are and how all of that works in order to exploit them and find out who the Nosha is. In terms of what I liked about this is I really like the creative character designs. They're very eye-poppingly neon and bright and different. And I also thought that when the Nosha is revealed, it is genuinely creepy. So that was kind of cool. But since there's a time loop, every time the Nosha wins, it gets reset, and the person that the Nosha is faking themselves to be, impersonating, that's the word. The person that the Nosha is impersonating is also different. So you can't go through once the Nosha is discovered and go, oh, I know who it is. It's not going to work. It's not going to be that easy. So, I don't know. I'll give it 1 or 2 more episodes and see what happens.
I can't remember. Was this show kind of like CG or was it?
It's not
typical
100%
animation?
CG, but they are using a lot of it in certain shots where they almost have a 3D look, where the camera is panning around the characters who are walking through a 3D space. It looks kind of cool. And it's just such a, this one's kind of a curio to me because the game that it's based on is an indie game, and as near as I can tell, it's not even a very popular one. It's kind of like a cult one where the people that love it really, really love this game and say it's a great game. So I'm just wondering why it got picked up.
I guess my next question is because I've only seen one episode, but like throughout the other episodes, does it give you enough clues and stuff that you can come to your own conclusion on who the Nosha is, or is it kind of like Detective Conan where they just give you some stuff and you're like, wait, how did you pull that out?
It's not quite as bad as Detective Conan. I kind of figured out who the Nosha was just by process of elimination and kind of knowing the trajectory that these stories go, so I didn't necessarily pick up on context clues presented within the show itself, but I just figured, oh, it would be more dramatic if this person was the Nosha this time around, and I turned out to be right. But we'll see if moving forward, perhaps there's more, it's more of a deduction game, because that's the interesting part to me in the game of Werewolf, is how to deduce with the clues that you're given who it is and figuring it out. But because this is an anime, success is not going to happen until the very end, if it happens at all.
Yeah.
So we're going to have to watch our hero fail many more times before we finally guess who it really is for realsies.
So if I remember correctly, I think it was 4 girls, right? And that one, I don't know if he was the girl guy, kind of made him androgynous, right?
Most of the characters are non-binary except for the redheaded girl. She's the only one that actually identifies as female so far. And the hero never really says one way or the other what they are, but the other characters refer to them as they, them.
Okay.
And then the one person that wakes him up, she looks very feminine, but every time someone calls her a woman or something, she says, I'm not a woman, I'm a soldier. So that's kind of interesting to me too. And if the opening is to be believed, we have some pretty crazy characters that we're going to meet. Like there's a dolphin in a spacesuit, which I haven't seen since the Mars Daybreak in the early OZs. So that'll be interesting. And I think is there another animal, and there's a robot looking thing. It's going to be weird characters.
All right.
Hopefully.
I guess we'll have to check back with you and see if you continue on with it after episode 3, right? You said?
Yeah. No promises. I'm not committed to this one.
All right. I think I'm going to skip the next title because it's not much to say about that. We'll go to this one though. Kimi something. Give me a second. Let me find the title. Kimi to koete koi ni naru, which translates with you, our love will make it through. Where's the keys? There it is. So, Kimito no koete koi ni naru. I had a kind of an argument with my friend because he's calling this a furry animal or furry anime. And I was like, I don't think just because they're beast people makes them a furry. I think furries are referred to the people who like them. So
yeah, I was kind of wondering about this too because, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I was always under the impression that for a character to be considered a furry is the art style has to it's kind of a very specific art style. And not necessarily what we're getting in this anime. But, because, like, would Sonic the Hedgehog be considered a furry? I don't think so, because he doesn't look like furry art. But, again, I'm kind of out of my element here.
yeah. But, this show is a heavy, it feels like super heavy romance. I've only seen the first episode. And I don't know how integrated the beast people are in this world. It seems like they're a really small minority, right? And
Yeah.
they're actually kept in, I would say, their own like districts, areas, so they don't really integrate with human society a lot. That's what it seemed like from the first episode. And in this school, I guess I don't know if they were saying they're trying out or introducing just that one new student, right?
Right, it's kind of like apartheid in a way. Because the beast people are relegated to a certain section of the city, and they've got their own hospitals and their own grocery stores and their own everything that they need is in that section, and they're completely walled off and they have to go through checkpoints to leave. So our guy, I only watched the first episode as well, but he applied to go to this school, and I think he said he was one of the first to take up this offer of education in the human school.
Because it does seem that in their area, it's also very low tech, very low compared to everywhere else, right?
Right.
Like they don't have the same necessities that we do, so it's very interesting. I kind of do want to watch more of this and check it out, but it's one of those shows that kind of got released a little late, right? I think there's only 2 episodes.
Yeah. Yeah, it
So
was the last one that I started watching anyway.
yeah, so it's going to be a while for us to catch up to this. I did see in the opening credits that there's going to be a cat girl, so I don't know when she appears, but it's very strange. I don't know, like, were they created or were they always in this world? I still have so many questions that I don't know if they were answered or if I just forgot. But
Yeah, they said that they were created from experimentation and that some of the beasts that were experimented on or hybridized on became of human level intelligence.
but I did find it very cute, especially with Asaka and Hiraka being together. They do have some very touching moments. But I will have to say, at the end of the first episode, I was kind of like, okay, where's this show gonna
Yeah.
go? I'm kind of,
Yeah.
I don't know what's gonna happen. So this is a very touchy title. I don't know. I'm going to definitely watch it and try to see what's going on. But it has a lot of, I guess, kind of awkward moments in it, and a lot of, I guess, bullying too because of him being a beast
Yeah.
person. So there's a lot of really heavy issues going along in this show, and I'm expecting Asaka to kind of also be thrown into some of this because maybe she's going to be. It seems to be really pushing for this romantic partnership between these two. So I don't know how that's going to play out. If there's going to be some pushback on her and everything. So if you want something a little lighter, that Beast, that Milady for the food, I would say go for that one. But this one seems to be pretty heavy. So, but it's very beautiful though.
It is beautifully animated and whatnot. I didn't particularly care for it very much, and this is going to sound super nitpicky, but the Beast Kid's hands are just human hands that are blue. And every time they showed a shot of his hands, I'm just, what are we doing here, anime? Come on. And that sort of took me out of it. But I don't know, I just wasn't vibing with the story or anything, so I decided not to continue with it.
Oh,
So you'll have to let me know if it's worth pursuing.
Are you sure it wasn't the abs that took you out of it? Boom.
A little bit, a little bit. Because this show was just constantly trying to push. I don't know, it was a very horny show, I guess.
Yeah. We'll see. We'll see by the end of the season if what one of us has to say, either you or I, if we follow it.
I take it, Albert, you're avoiding this one.
Yeah, I have zero interest, especially because I mean I get it that it's a stand-in for modern day racism, but just putting a blue dog's head and giving on a person, right? And
Yeah.
they otherwise look completely human, well, except for the fur, I guess, body fur. But everything else, there's no hybridization. It's just a dog head on a person's body. I'm like, okay, whatever, and okay, I get it that you're segregated and you're this Romeo and Juliet thing, and seen all of it before, and unless it's done really well, I don't really have it. And I'm just not really into high school settings right now.
Okay.
Yeah, that's fair.
Funny. We'll see how the show
All right.
goes. What's next up? Let me see here. Looking up the title. Oops, wrong button. What is this called? Me. Oh wow, the title isn't in here. The banishment court magician aims to become the strongest. I don't see the title here in my. Oh, here it is. Never mind. Sorry. This is a fantasy show. Um, I don't know. It seems to be a typical kind of following that trope of the hero banished is the one of their members who they find is probably the weakest and most insignificant, but it turns out that he's the backbone of the whole party. And now he goes to join his old comrades and proves to be successful kind of stories. You know what I'm talking about? We got a lot of those a few years ago with being banished from the hero's party. But this one, he's a court magician that just gets banished from being that position from the prince as they were going through dungeon crawling. And he, as he's been fired, he meets up with his old comrades who welcome him with open arms and are excited to start their adventure because in school they were known to be close-knitted and have created the record of going the deepest within this one dungeon. So now that they're together, they're hoping that they can travel farther and prove their worth and show the prince that Alec was better than they could have ever imagined. And it seems that he has a trauma over this now that he has to overcome because of his being with the prince, because he was given a lot of limitations. Like he couldn't attack, he couldn't use a sword, he could only use support magic, which wasn't even something that he was trained to do. So he had to learn that from scratch. So now he's going to have to try to break all these old habits to go with his friends to try to raise the ranks. So that's what this is. There's a lot of shows like this, so I don't know. I think it would be popular with a lot of people, but I don't know if I'll keep up with it, as I've seen plenty of it like it. So not much to say about that show, right? I'll skip the next one. Let me go to here, the titles. There's also Let This Grieving So Retire Season 2, which if you've seen Season 1, it's just a continuation, so I won't get into that. We do have One Punch Man that has come out, Season 3, but we'll skip that, because if you're watching it, you're watching it already, right? Ranma 1/2 Season 2. Did you want to talk about that?
No, it's you know what you're getting into now.
Yeah, I heard a lot of people, or not a lot of people, I should say. I should say I heard one person complaining about the censorship because of Netflix, I guess.
I don't know that it's necessarily because of Netflix, because we've seen Barbie Doll Anatomy on plenty of series on Crunchyroll and High Dive.
But I think Ranma's a Netflix thing, right?
Yeah, it is, but if it's censorship, it's not Netflix doing it. It's kind of been the industry standard for a while, is to not draw nipples.
Okay. So then we'll go to the next title, which is this one. What is this?
Oh, this is anime of the season for me.
Oh, this show.
This came out of left field. I watched it on a whim, and I was hooked.
If you would have watched the Aniplex Fest online, they had a whole article or whole section on this, and it was funny because the voice actress came out there with her gloves on too and stuff as they promoted the show. But go ahead and tell us about
That's funny.
it. Go ahead and tell us about it. Yeah.
This one, the setup is kind of like your standard villainous in an otome game setup, where the inciting incident is the asshole of a prince breaking up with the heroine, and the villainess is on his arm, Like, he, I am making him do everything. And in this case, however, our heroine, who is the dump E, punches them both in the face. And it is really, really satisfying. Scarlet's basically the everybody looks like a nail and she is a hammer. And so she just punches her way through all of her problems, and it's glorious. I love it. It's a lot of fun.
Now, I know it's not really the same, but honestly, I kind of thought of that one video meme where that guy just slapped everyone at the barbecue that got near him. Remember that back in the day?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Kind of, except that the only one doing any slapping is Scarlet, or punching is Scarlet. But I mean, she punches a freaking dragon. She'll grab nobles by their heels and twirl them around. And so the show does a lot of juxtaposition with her in these beautiful noble gowns, exquisite dresses and stuff. And then she'll be covered in blood because she's punched someone in the nose and they're bleeding all over her. Or they'll, instead of her dancing with someone, it'll be her swinging someone around in circles, laughing maniacally. It's great. And the Crown Prince is also a pretty cool side character, is that he fully enables Scarlet's wanton violence and loves seeing her go ham on these people. So I'm having fun, and I think that's all this is. It's not going to be very deep or complex. It's just taking tropes, old, tired, worn tropes that we've seen a million times, and doing something new and fresh with them. And sometimes that's all you need to make a really enjoyable anime.
Yeah. One thing I will love to talk about and mention is that I guess she's been on good behavior for a long time, but as soon as she starts becoming her true self, I love it. I love the realization on everyone's faces when they call her, it's the Mad Dog Princess.
Yes.
And she goes by her moniker that she had grown up with, and it's just hilarious. She's very beautifully drawn, and also one thing I did have a question about, because I can't remember honestly, that it is like a fantasy world, but I don't really sense that there's like magic in this world, right?
There is, because she has some sort of spell that can speed herself up.
Oh,
she
yeah, that's right.
Herself.
So I guess I am just forgetting, because I've been watching so many shows, so I probably just forgot about that. But...
Yeah, the other thing I want to mention is that the details on the clothes are pretty intricate. When they're showing scenes from the school, the girls have these little bows, and the bows are a plaid, and there's a lot of patterns that are applied to clothing. They had to have been done digitally, because I can't imagine someone sitting there and drawing all of this by hand every single frame. But it kind of gives, it's like a fresh coat of paint on everything. It looks really cool. And makes things visually interesting, even when there's not a lot going on in the scene.
Yeah. But does this give you kind of like reverse harem vibes or not?
Not really, because the only other male character that kind of has an interest in her is someone that she beat the absolute tar out of and then threw all the way to the moon. So she's clearly not really wanting to pursue him in the manner that he wishes to be pursued. But there are a handful of Bishonen around, because her brother is also a Bishonen, but he's off the table because, brother.
Oh, that's not something an anime can stop.
I mean, let's hope that it doesn't go there. But the evil villainous lady, we find out in the 3rd episode that she is actually from another world, presumably our world. Which you could kind of picked up you could have picked up if you'd watched the ending theme, because contrary to how you think a show would end with pictures of Scarlet and maybe the prince and stuff like that, it's all this villainous character, and she's dressed like Alice in Wonderland. And she goes through the looking glass. So the show isn't hiding from you this secret, really. But that'll be interesting to see how Scarlet deals with this hussy.
All right. I was just looking at the website here, and it says that one of the tags is gore.
I mean, I don't know that I'd call it gore. There is a lot of blood, but when I think of gore, I think of limbs chopping off and intestines spilling out and all that kind of stuff. This is just, violence.
Okay. Next up, let's see here. Oh, this show. This is going to be your kind of like ecchi, super ecchi hentai show of the season. Unless there's another one. I haven't seen any others. Called Sawaranaide Kotesashi-kun. Or Hands Off Sawaranaide Kotesashi-kun. That's a weird name for me to say. But the Kote, I'm just going to call him Kote for now. He becomes a dorm mother at this one dorm that houses, I guess, nothing but girls, and within this dorm, right off the bat from the first episode, he runs into those ecchi moments where he opens the door and there's a girl like naked, and this is actually uncensored, so you have the full nipples and everything in your face. And as he runs away, he knocks into other girls and gets into those lucky skibbin moments, right? So it doesn't hide what it is. It's very ecchi, and it goes full blown to the point where if you're going to watch it with headphones, because the moaning and the screaming is just right there. He's actually a masseuse, a sports masseuse, or I don't know if he's a sports masseuse, but he's a masseuse, and he gives the massages to the girls, and it's just very over sexualized. These girls are just sweating and just moaning all over the place. So yeah. One thing about it is a short. It's only, I believe, 12 minutes long, so it's not long at all. But it is on Crunchyroll, surprisingly, without these censorship. So that's the kind of hentai title right now. But we can kind of move on, because there's not much to hentai titles, just over sexualized moments and a lot of moaning. Next up is Shabake, which I have no idea what this is. What is this?
This is pretty interesting. It takes place in the Edo period. The main character is a son of a merchant family, and he is chronically ill. He has very little stamina and spends a lot of time in bed sick. But he can see spirits and yokai. And so there's a bit of a mystery where a person is murdered and they're trying to figure out who has done the murder. And what I really like about this one is that the yokai that are shown are ones that I haven't necessarily seen, because we tend to see the same yokai get reused over and over again in anime a lot. And these are ones where if you look them up on Wikipedia, there might be 2 or 3 sentences describing them. So real deep cuts here. And I like the variety of the yokai and monsters, and the mystery's kind of interesting. I don't know, I'm just really digging this one. So this one is also up there for me. with one of the shows I look forward to the most every week.
All right. I believe this is on Crunchyroll, right?
Mm-hmm.
So does it give you like a? Is this kind of like a detective thing since you said there is some mystery happening, or is it kind of like?
It is kind of, yeah, kind of a detective thing, as I don't want to say very much at risk of giving it away, but there's our hero stumbles across a dead body and nearly gets killed himself, and then the next day the dead body is missing its head, but when our hero saw it, it was intact. So we don't know if the murderer is a human being or a supernatural being. And he's trying to figure out all of this stuff, all while having to juggle his responsibilities as the son of a merchant and dealing with chronic illness.
For some reason, two other titles kind of pop into my head as I'm thinking about this. What was that? Murder on Face or something like that, where the head girl that solved mysteries. What was her name?
Oh,
Undead.
I think I know who you're talking about, but I don't remember the name. It escapes me.
Yeah, and then
That
you
was
also
really
had
good.
like the Inspector, I think it was.
Yeah,
Had a lot of
Inspector.
yokai kind of mystery solving things.
Yeah. But I would say check it out if you want to enjoy some tangential learning about the more obscure yokai in the Japanese bestiary.
All right, thank you.
Mhm.
Next up, this title. This title seems long. Let me see if I can get the title card for it. Yeah, here it is. It's one of those mouthfuls of a title. See if I can say it all. Shinji Teita Nakama Tachi ni Dungeon Okuchi de Korosareta Kaketa ga Gift Mugen Gacha de level 9999 no Nakama Tachi wo te ni irete moto party members to Sekai ni Fukushu and Zama Shimasu.
Okay, my husband was trying to get me to watch this one. Tell me, Tank. Is this a Jessica one or not?
I honestly don't think so. It's, I mean, when I read it as a manga, because I've read this manga, I believe it's based off a light novel, but I've read the manga, and the manga was really fun. I really enjoyed the manga, to a point though, because it's gone on so long, and it kind of has diverted from where I thought it would be. So it's been a while since I've read it, so maybe it's gone back on track. But it's a revenge story. Light, I think his name is Laito, is a boy who is invited into a party full of different races. You know, there's elves, beast, and such, dwarfs, and there's I can't remember how many there are, but in the end, they try to kill him, but he ends up transporting himself deeper into a dungeon and is left for dead. And the whole story is that they were kind of testing him to see if he was this so-called what they call a master or something like that. And they deemed him not to be one, so they decided to kill him. And now that he's kind of escaped, and his ability, which is the gacha gift, where he can kind of summon whatever, like kind of like in a gacha role, and he usually gets tissues or whatever. it just so happens that at the bottom of the dungeon, when he's about to die, he summons a level 9999 maid, which ends up defeating the monsters, and he decides to take his revenge with the help of his gacha powers. And the thing that I didn't like about this so far is that you had the first episode, which kind of set up the whole premise of him being sent to the dungeon, which I was like, okay. It didn't really kind of go too much into detail in the manga like it did in this episode, so I find it a little interesting to see a lot of this new stuff that kind of popped up or how they change it. But then the second episode seemed nothing but filler. I was like, why we have this in here? This has nothing really to do with the story. It's just everyone in the dungeon, and we're just meeting a bunch of characters, which we'll naturally meet as the story progresses. So I kind of was like, this is like a giant filler thing to me. It wasn't until the third episode that it kind of got back on track to where the manga went, and he starts kind of going for his revenge against everyone. Because it seems that humans are seen as low class, that they can only raise in level up to maybe 100 at the max. And while the other races can go higher, and it seems like at every race there's a max number. So depending on what your max number is, puts you in the in your position in the totem. So he decides to go get revenge and get all the answers for why they treated him that way, why he was left for dead, and also to kind of try to go back to his roots, go back to his family members. So as you watch the show, you'll see the extent of his abilities. He is overpowered. He is very, like, how do you say it? He kind of plays around with everyone because he knows he's stronger than them now, kind of thing. So he is very much kind of like this evil. It's kind of like evil versus evil in this show, how it's going on. So, but as far as like it, I would say read the manga, because the manga is way better than the anime. And if you kind of like it, then you can maybe give it a try. But to me, it doesn't seem like that great, and I would just stick with the manga. And yeah, I don't think I got much else to say about this show. Any other questions or anything? It's not isekai, so we got that at least.
Thank you.
Oh, this title. I only saw parts of the first episode because I was doing art at the same time, which is Touring After the Apocalypse. How much did you watch?
I just watched one episode. I couldn't quite gel with the tone. And it invites comparisons to Girls' Last Tour, which is a freaking masterpiece.
Yeah.
And I just didn't think that this worked the way that Girls' Last Tour did. In terms of... Because... So they're on their own. Where's the tension come from if the android girl can just use her beam arm to get them out of trouble every time? Mm-hmm. I don't know. It just did not click with me. What was your opinion on it?
Well, I don't know. Like I said, I was watching parts of it, so as I was doing other things. So like the beginning, it kind of started like normal, right? They were going to get a gas station like any other day, and then the next thing I know, they were like, it was the everything was going on. I'm like, wait, what happened? Where did we jump? Like, did it just cut to this moment, or did I miss something?
Yeah, it did. No, you didn't miss anything. It just sort of cut there, but cell phones still work inexplicably. And I think with Girls' Last Tour is you felt how empty the world was.
Yeah.
And with this one, the way the girls are acting, it's just like a normal day for them. There's no mourning what was lost. There's no... I don't know, they're just too damn Genki, I guess, for being completely alone in a post-apocalyptic setting.
Yeah, because like the thing about the girls' tour, which I love too, was that they started in a very dark like tunnels and everything, where there was
Mm-hmm.
no light. Everything you can kind of get the atmosphere of how the world is. That these two are truly alone, and that they have to lean on each other for everything.
Mm-hmm.
While in this one, it's like we're camping, we're having fun, we're jumping into the water, kind of. I,
Yeah.
I, and I was like, okay, but then all of a sudden she did something. I can't remember. Like you were talking about her being a robot, but I was like, what in the?
Yeah.
And I'll admit, it felt like they were trying to capitalize on what was that, Nordy Body, non Body kind of character. I don't know how to explain it, but the anime I think it was non Biori,
Oh, I
and
never
her
saw
and
that one.
her cuteness, trying to use that kind of little girl to capitalize her, but it kind of fell through, and I didn't
Yeah,
like it.
because you can't have it both ways. You can't have this world that's empty and dangerous if the protagonists don't feel that it's empty and dangerous. Because I'm sorry, any ordinary person that wakes up an autonomous tank that then tries to blow them up isn't going to be laughing and giggling and going, "Oh, it's so much fun." But maybe I'm taking this too seriously and this isn't meant to be anything more than just a fun adventure comedy series. But
Yes.
I don't know. It's missing something. Albert, did you see this one?
Yeah, I'm actually reading the manga. So I watched
Mm,
the first episode, and you know what? Every AniTuber keeps comparing it to Girls Last Tour. They bring it up, but this is a completely different story and genre. So
mm.
it has nothing to do with the fact that it's an apocalypse. I don't know if you watched episode two, I think is where they go back into some backstory, but basically the main girl, right, grew up. Uh, Something happened. They don't explain what. I didn't even realize Mount Fuji had blown its top in the shot in the manga. But there's been an apocalypse, and she mostly for several years grew up in a shelter with Irie, the robot girl, as her only companion, and messages supposedly from her sister, older sister, who's somewhere out there, right? So she's been stuck in a shelter, and she finally gets to go outside. So this is it's about going out there for the first time on your own and discovering how beautiful the world still is. It's not about everybody is dying. We're probably all going to die, and we're slowly but inevitably creeping to the very end. That's not what the story is. So yes, it's cute girls doing cute things. It just happens to be riding motorcycle, touring Japan as she tries to follow in her sister's footsteps and recreate those moments that she saw from her sister's journey. So I don't know exactly why they put that uh, almost a prologue-ish segment of her sister touring, and I don't know if it's her and her sister that were touring. I don't think so, but that's her sister's journey, and the main character is trying to follow along, and that's why she's like, oh, this is the place, I gotta take a picture, and does a selfie. That's the kind of tone it is. So yeah, there are some other things that show up later that tie into a little bit more about this world. It's clearly far advanced because they have a robot girl, right? And there later
Mm-hmm.
you'll find another robot, and there are tanks that can autonomously fight. So something happened. I still don't know. I think I've read 5 volumes of the manga. Just reading it because it's girls, motorcycle, two things I like.
So I
But
I
guess
think
yeah,
they
I was just gonna say, I guess my comparison to No Non Bjordy was kind of close then, right? Because that's cute girls doing cute things.
Yeah, I think it falls into that genre and kind of a slice of life-ish, because every day is a new discovery as they go to a place they had never been before. Because she grew up in a shelter. I don't know how much of it she grew up in a shelter, but it can't be all her life. It seems like a substantial number of years was spent there while the world fell apart. And you could see there are buildings still standing, but highways are starting to crumble. You know, um, and structures. There's still food that you can find, I guess. Everyone's looking for that Twinkie that you could still eat. But yeah, so it can't be too long, but it has been more than. It seems like that kind of apocalypse doesn't happen in just 10 years. You don't get highways, concrete structures crumbling, unless that was part of the apocalypse. I don't know. So far, I have no idea, but it's basically a slice of life for the girls on motorcycles with a robot. So it's a
I
little bit
really
bizarre.
I really think they should have led the story with her getting out of the shelter to set the tone. Because when you have a post-apocalyptic anime and it has the word touring in it, the other post-apocalyptic anime that has the word touring in it is two girls going on an adventure, and so like it or not, people are gonna compare the two.
Yeah,
And
I kind of
you need to kind of set up your what the audience expectations should be right out of the gate. And I think maybe that's what was wrong with the first episode is they didn't really do that. Um, so it was
yeah, I
really
think
hard to know.
this is something that they should have done, like you said. It would have made more sense. And unfortunately, they're kind of following along what the manga did, and it
Mm-hmm.
wasn't the shelter scenes weren't till like volume two, maybe three of the manga.
Oh.
They do it in flashbacks, like, oh, this is kind of what happened. She remembers things, the shelter, or she dreams about when she was in the shelter and wanted to really go outside. But a better scenario writer and director might have made that decision to say, now it doesn't quite, throwing them right people, the viewers, into the world doesn't quite make sense. So let's modify it so that that
Mm-hmm.
sense of wonder they didn't. So I think that's the problem. I think you're right that the expectation is doesn't jive with the tone, and they don't set the expectation correctly. But it's pretty.
Oh yeah.
So maybe we'll have to try again with that different mindset and see if it works
Yeah,
better.
now that we have some context.
All right. Next title. Oh, I'm going to skip this title. This title doesn't even need to be talked about. It's an isekai that is worse than the assassin one, so don't watch it. Spy Family season 3 is out, so I'm not gonna talk about that because if you're watching it, you're watching it. Let's go to this next one after that, which is it this one? Yeah. And this is a title I may drop. It's called Tensei Akujo no Kuro Reikishi, The Dark History of the Reincarnated Villainess. And it's an isekai. The girl gets reincarnated as the villainess, as the story tells you, or the title tells you. But here's the thing: the story that she's reincarnated into is a story from her own fantasy, her own mind. That she started as a kid, and she made this up world. She made up this world because she loved the whole fantasy setting, isekai. She believed she was going to be isekai at any moment, and she made the main character with her own name, and threw all of her passion, her feelings into this character. Gave her built the world, gave her all these different settings. As she grew up, her moods changed. She got into her dark moments, so there's some like trials that she'll have to go through because of these dark moments. But as she wakes up, she realizes that she's not the main character. She's the that she was hoping for. She becomes the sister, which is the villainess, and now she has to try to remember her own fantasy, her own story, to try to prevent herself from being killed. Because if things go on, she's going to be killed by the butler who, in the story, ends up killing her right after she's in prison, which she was in prison in episode 1. So as she's trying to prevent all these death flags from happening to the main character, she's struggling with her memory of everything that's happened between her teen years to her now grown up age. So it was a little funny at the beginning, but I don't know if I want to keep on watching this, so I probably won't, because there's a lot of other titles out there that are better than this, especially villainous titles. So yeah, so this would be just like if I wrote a book when I was a high schooler and threw all my fantasies into it, and then I was reborn in that story. That's it. Let's go to this title, because I think you guys want to talk about it, right? Because was our highly loved title back in the day, the Tomo Skill de Isekai Horo. Now, this is the only isekai this season I think that's worth watching. Campfire cooking in another world with my absurd skill, season 2, right? Yeah. So I did have to go back and watch the last episode because I don't remember where we left off. So
it doesn't really matter, I feel like, because it's them just wandering, going from one adventure to the next.
Yeah. So I guess we really don't have much to talk about it. We'll just mention it because it is one of the titles that we loved, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's still high quality animation. The food looks great. There's some wacky new characters. Mukoda gets a new familiar, so a third one besides Bell and Sui. His naming sense still sucks. Yeah, it's just shenanigans continue as they go along trying to find, monsters to slay to eat them and cook them up with his super skilled net super, and other even more gods become involved in his affairs. So yeah,
I was just going to mention the one thing I kind of forgot was he was summoned with other people, right? Like, do we ever get any callback to them, or like what's going on with them, or?
There were a few callbacks in the first season. The second season, I can't remember from the manga arcs if they do get name dropped here and there, but I don't think they're gonna play any prominent role. It'll just be like, oh yeah, I heard the hero moved to this location or fought this monster or something like that. That's about it.
Because I always expect in these types of shows, because I've seen others where their paths cross and he ends up, saving the heroes in some way or another. Either his beasts do it or something. So I'm kind of expecting that, just to following the
Yeah,
tropes.
it hasn't happened in the manga so far. The manga is up to volume. It's past 10, I think. Anyway, all the volumes I've read so far, their paths have not crossed again.
All right. So we'll go to the next title, which is a crazy one. Oh my god, I was laughing so hard when I watched the first episode of this. No one else has watched it. Tojima wants to be a Kamen Rider.
have not watched it.
Nope.
Oh my god, it's so silly. It follows the life at the episode one. It follows the life of Tojima as a child, growing up watching Kamen Rider, becoming infatuated with it, and wants to be Kamen Rider. And he's so into it that even in high school, he has like drawn the belt on his bare skin, and he gets bullied, and he does his whole like Henshin. It's so cringe, as you watch these moments, you're like, oh my god. And now that he's 40 years old, he's working construction. I think he gets laid off, and now he's kind of just in the dumps. He doesn't know what to do. Um, he has so much Kamen Rider merch that he decides to sell because he's worried that if he passes, it'll just be thrown in the trash, and he wants people to appreciate their worth, so he decides to sell it so that people who really love it can then purchase it and have it in their collection. That's the excuse he gives. But as he's walking around at a festival, I guess there's been a spree of shockers, uh, which is the main villains in Kamen Rider, going around and causing havoc, robbing stores and stuff. And it just so happens that at this festival, they're bullying this stand, and he quickly buys a Kamen Rider mask from one of the vendors, and just shows up as the hero and beats these shockers. And it's just hilarious. As he's going through this, he's has tears in his eyes. He's like, I'm finally get to be the Kamen Rider I've always wished to. And it's just utter silliness, and it's just so great as you watch this guy live out his dream and doing all this. And it's kind of funny as well with the bad guys, because they're led by this mafia gang member kind of guy. I don't know if he's really part of them or if he wants to be part of them, because it seems like he's the lone person running this stick. But he's always loved the shockers, and that's why he's made his henchmen act like the shockers, where they go to as they get ready to rob them, they go me and do the whole salute. But it's just so crazy, and then you're thrown in for an absolute loop at the second episode. So if anything, I don't want to ruin this whole surprise. I would say watch to the second episode, and then decide if you want to watch it or not, because it's just so crazy and funny. It does have a little bit of fan service with this new character that's introduced by episode 2, because her breasts are huge, and it's just like thrown everywhere at you almost in this whole second episode. But other than that, it's just hilarious. Funny show. And I've never seen Kamen Rider, so I don't know how true to these characters or true to everything they're portraying is, but I hope it's pretty close and we're learning a little bit about Kamen Rider through the show.
Yeah, so the scenes that they show in the first episode of him like watching the show, the live action, but it's animated, right? And that's exactly what it's like. So there is an homage in some sense, but it's interesting that the main guy doesn't want to become the guy that becomes Kamen Rider. He just wants to be Kamen Rider, which is what all the kids wanted, right? So in some sense, he hasn't really grown up, but it's that, I don't know. I think it's trying to say something about Japanese society too at the same time. So yeah, I haven't actually watched it, but enough people have talked about it. I know the story enough. So I think it could be very interesting and certainly hilarious in some sense about these people who haven't let go of their childhood dreams, trying to come to terms with it as an adult and trying to trying to. I don't know if they've come to terms, but I guess they're trying to deal with that passion that they have as a child and the reality of adult life. So, yeah, I think it could be very interesting.
All right. Let's go ahead and go to the next title. Oops. I only saw the first episode of this, and it looks pretty. That's all I can say about it. I don't know where the story's going to go because we kind of left off somewhere completely different.
Oh, is this the
This is
monster one? Yeah.
this is Toa no Yugure. Beyond
Yeah.
Dusk Beyond the End of the World, which is on High Dive.
I'm not really sure. I've watched 2 episodes, and this is another kind of post-apocalyptic one where the first episode is episode 0, and it's about a brother-sister duo who they are not related by blood, and the sister's some kind of genius when it comes to AI and writing AI. And so there were protests against her creations, and I thought that part would have been very interesting, but what episode 0 decided to spend almost all of its runtime towards was the romance between the brother and the sister who are not related by blood. And so I was pretty not liking it because I think, you know what, there's some interesting conversations to have about autonomous robots rocking AI, and are they human, are they not human, and what that does, and is her AI like ours where it's just burning the planet down so that you get a very poorly written summary of the weather. You know, what are we actually talking about? But anyway, episode 0 ends with the brother waking up in some sort of stasis pod, and the world looks completely different. The people don't speak any language that I know, and the world looks like it's been reset to more basic levels of technology. And I'm not sure what.
That was the brother? I thought that was the woman that woke up.
No, it's the brother that wakes up in the pod.
I gotta go
you
rewatch
need
it.
to get you lost.
I don't know what. Okay, I'm getting really. Okay, continue. Sorry.
Oh no, there's not a whole lot to say. Is that then the first episode continues on with that story where one of the families decides to hide the brother because he's technically an artifact from the ancient times, and the government is going to take all of the artifacts from the ancient times, which I guess include people. And then a very paper-thin villain shows up. His name is, I can't remember it exactly, but I want to say it's Latin for loud dog, which is really on the nose. And then a robot lady shows up and rescues him, and that's the end of the first episode. So I'm not really impressed. I'm continuing to watch it just because I like to watch original anime productions to see, you know, I like originals. They're fun sometimes, but this is not that.
Huh.
Yeah, so there's a problem. This is by PA Works, which I, have hit or miss
Yes.
original work. I always do try to support their work, and I did not watch episode 0, did not know about it till after I watched 1, and I think watching 0 doesn't help at all. Most times 0 adds if you know the story, and it's a funny inside joke kind of thing. So I watched episode 1, and from the get-go, I was a little bit worried. Even though the combat animation that happens in the second half of the episode looked great, like early on, just people walking around and things, I'm like, that model looks a little off. The proportion doesn't seem to fit. The perspective is a little off. And this is supposed to be PA Works' 25th anniversary project.
Oh no.
Yeah. So for that, I'm like, this does not look like a 25th anniversary project. So that had me worried. And then, the story unfolds in kind of a little bit weird way. And then the villains are so cartoonishly villainous, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're a totalitarian regime that controls the entire world in exchange for everyone living in peace. And by living in peace, it means keeping them at like a 17th, 18th century rural village technology level, while they have trains and guns, and they're fascist basically.
Yeah.
So how that ties into the AI story, I don't know. But then at the end of the episode, I'm like, okay, so Robot Girl shows up. She has no restraint because she blows up the bad guy with the mountain behind it blown to smithereens too. Imagine if there was another village behind that.
Mm-hmm.
So there's that, and then they go into what I presume is going to be the OP, and you just get a deluge of NPC characters just showing up one after the other. And it's pretty clear that many of these are Toa, the android girl, right? The robot girl's siblings, because they all have Toa's face. So so I'm like, okay, I see where this is going. At some point she made all these to carry on her wishes, or them. It's clear some of them are battling each other, so the AI thing didn't go as planned, and I guess some AIs turned fascist, and others. This is like ChatGPT, right? So
Yeah.
I'm like, this is not a worthy 25th anniversary project. So I have only had time to watch episode 1 of all the shows I was interested in, and some of them I've watched up to episode 3. But this was one where I just finished it the other day, and I'm not sure. I will watch episode 2, but already I am getting really worried. I'm hoping this will not turn into like a class flip, or what was the other show that kind of ended up. Anyway, PA Works. I've had hits and misses in their original animation, and so far this is looking very mediocre.
I mean, A Lull in the Sea looks like a gosh darn masterpiece compared to this.
Okay.
And that one had a lot of problems.
I had a lot of problems. So anyway, yeah, I think it's worth checking out because it is a original anime, and you may or may not like it. And it's always good to at least support the originals, but I'm not sure it's gonna live up to expectations.
Mm-hmm.
And what's with episode zeros being so dark nowadays? 'Cause it always starts so happy and then ends in a dark note. Last time we got that happy birthday song. Now we got this ending in episode 0. So. We'll have to probably check more of this out later on. What's this next title? Oh, this one. As I was watching this title, I was surprised, but maybe because it's not on High Dive, because it's on Crunchyroll. But like on High Dive, for a show like this, it's called This Monster Wants to Eat Me, or Watashi wo Tabetai Hito Den Denashi. Like on High Dive for shows like this, I swear they would have came up with the disclosure about mental health problems and stuff. Well, this one,
Yeah, this one needs that, I think, because it goes to some pretty dark places.
it's very enticing show though. It draws me and makes me want to watch more to learn
Hmm.
what's really going on. It's kind of like I'm almost in the same feeling as her. Maybe not in the darkness, but maybe in her like her her status where she's just like watching and just staring at stuff. As I'm watching this show, I feel like that. I'm like, what's happening? What's going on? What's she thinking? What's because you feel for this girl. Like something really bad happened and she needs help, but you're also pulled in by that one. What was her name? Toa or something like that. Or what was?
Mm.
Let me look it up. What was her name? The new girl. Uh,
Oh, you
Omi?
mean the friend? The red-haired friend?
Oh no, the new girl, the one that wants to eat her.
Oh, Shiori.
Shorty. Yeah, she does have that look and quality that would pull someone in, I think. And so they have a really good um, pairing between the two. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I'm really curious to see if how they're going to go about this because it seems that Shorty is there to or is going to try to make her feel better, try to help her through her problems, all for the sake of eating her, of course. But then we also have the conflict of like monsters that are going to be coming after her. How is it going to be? Is it going to be very action packed, or is it just going to be? I don't know what to think about the show.
I really like it a lot. I have a feeling that it's got some stuff under the hood, that it's not the type that will just come out and directly say things. So Hinako is deeply depressed. And one thing you'll notice about her in comparison to her other classmates is that she covers her body from head to toe. She has a turtleneck on, so her neck is covered. She wears long sleeves even in the summer. She wears stockings. You can't see really any skin below her chin. And this could be one of two things. It could be an artistic way of showing how closed off and secretive she is with her true feelings. Or it could be that she is either cutting herself or has scars from the terrible accident that was kind of the genesis of her misery. You could look at it in either of those ways, and it would still make sense. Um, my main gripe, though, is that the animation isn't that good. It's pretty bare bones. There's not a lot of, well, I should say the art is very interesting and pleasing to look at, but in terms of the way it moves, it's lacking something. There are a lot of stills, a lot of slow pans. There's one scene where Shiori is transforming from her monster hand back into a normal hand, and it just fades over. It doesn't. Um, they don't animate it changing into the hand. It just looks like they slowly faded the monster layer off of her and her hand was underneath. So the animation's kind of half baked, but the story and the characters are pretty interesting, and I am looking to see where this goes. I don't think it's going to be a happy ending, though.
You mentioned in that animation, it kind of gives me like they took a light novel and then added some more little transitions to it to make it move. Because a lot of
Yes,
these
yes.
motions are very like light novelist or visual novels, I should say.
Yeah, yeah. Definitely visual novel type animation.
But it does a good job of capturing you. And one thing that I did really love about this show, I mean, all the other shows have great things, but this one is very prominent because of, I guess, the nature of the show is the music in it. It's very, very pulling to you for the themes it's showing. So, I know there's a lot of fans out there that love the whole Yuri demographic, and this does have a lot of that Yuri vibes,
Mm-hmm.
kind of like the Sailor Uniform Akebi show, where it's not really Yuri, but it has a lot of those moments where you're like, are they gonna kiss or not, kind of thing, because of
Yeah.
how close a lot of them are to each other. So I can't say for sure it is Yuri, but it does have a lot of those passing moments where you're like, it could go either way. Other than that, I've only seen 2 episodes. I think there's 3, right? Well, no, there's 4.
Yes, although the fourth one might have just come out.
So
I've only
I
seen the first 3.
so I got a little catching up to do.
Ah, yeah, fourth one is out. Mm-hmm.
So definitely, I do want to follow this and keep on it. So this is definitely going to be one of my top ones to watch. But it is once again Crunchyroll, I believe. So check it out. My someone in the chat says it makes me want to go into the water.
I mean, those monster girls, you could be the first one to find one.
The next show, I kind of watched only the first episode in passing just to see what it was, because there's nothing really remarkable about this look of this show, and I was like, except for the fact that this one boy has an eye patch in the title card. So I was like, what is this really about? And it seems to just be a high school romance where the boy is really clumsy and is always getting hurt. And the girl, I guess she's like the class president, has taken notice of him always coming to school hurt, and that's when she discovers that he's just super clumsy and always getting into these situations that hurt him. So that's why he's always bandaged up. And he's learned to live with this, but he's also closed himself off because he doesn't want others to get hurt. So, because like as she tries to get closer to him, he ends up like butting heads, or something happens to her as well. So he kind of like separates himself from everyone to try to not bring any misfortune to others. So, but with her mystery in her nature, and eventually, which she feels has now become a love interest, she decides that she's going to try to be there with him and try to help him through it. Kind of made me think of this anime called Shikamori, where that one boy was always he had bad luck and stuff was always trying to hurt him, but she was a strong female lead that was always there to protect him, and she had that strong presence. This one, the girl isn't. She's very meek, and what she's there to be is support, and also to kind of like bandage him up afterwards. So I don't know if she's going to help him get through a lot of these incidents, but I think she's going to try to have him open up and get close with the classmates. But it doesn't seem like a bad show. It's just I don't know where to put it. But it And then the last title is our last isekai. I think this is it. Oops. I messed up. I accidentally hit cancel instead of okay. The last boss something. I guess I'm trying to open up the site. There it goes. The wild last boss appears. This is one of those isekai into a game. The guy has this character that he's built up within this game world, and it's an MMOR where the objective is to beat the Demon King, whatever. But for some reason in this world, a lot of players have decided to kind of make their own story within this world. And in this case, our main protagonist has created a group that is kind of like the antagonist of this game before you get to the last boss, where she has challenged everyone else to defeat her before fighting them. And in the first episode, it's the guy playing his character, and he's finally defeated by the hero. And as he goes to sleep, he wakes up, I believe, and he's now in the body of his character, Lufus. And he was summoned by some people. I can't remember what kingdom, but he just ends up leaving and trying to figure out what's going on. Like hundreds of years have passed, and it seems that the hero party decided to attempt to defeat the Demon King, but lost, and have now returned home and have created their own kingdoms. So it's just the character going through and trying to learn more about the world and how things have changed since she's left. So it wasn't too great, it wasn't too bad. It's your typical isekai overpowered character in the game world. Now, after that, I think, is there any call outs you want to make? I think we had the Chainsaw Man movie out. We also had the Dragon Maid movie that came out. There should be tons of Studio Ghibli movies, right? And I think we had Perfect Blue in theaters too, right?
Yeah, I missed Perfect Blue in theater. And then I think Maid Dragon was only out a very short time. Chainsaw Man is out this weekend, so I can go watch it on Thursday. Thursday night. Yeah, that about does it.
Are there any other movies that are? I think I saw an announcement of one other movie that may be coming out soon, but I kind of forgot what it was.
There's the 4K remaster of Angel's Egg. It's coming to theaters.
Ooh.
That's in November. Mid-November.
Okay. I'm gonna have to look it up and then put it in our Discord under upcoming movies. I'm gonna make sure I keep an eye on that from now on, so we can see what all these movies that are coming. Unfortunately for the Dragon Maid, the closest theater I had near me was over 4 hours away, so I couldn't get to it. And I think Dragon Maid was only 1 day in theaters.
Yeah.
So that was super sad. But be sure to check out your theaters, everyone, to see if you can watch it. I know the Hatsune Miku World Tour is coming out, and you can buy tickets on October 31st. So if you're in Seattle, there's a concert there happening in April. In New York, I know we have some friends there that are getting tickets there. I might go to Georgia or Chicago. I haven't decided where yet. Each way still a long drive for me. So they're nowhere near me, but that's the only closest place for me. California, I think, had a few stops. They have 2 in Canada and 1 in Mexico. So I think they also had Florida. So there's a lot of really fun places or locations to watch this world tour. I don't know if you've ever been to one, but it was really fun. I mean, just mingling with the crowd, and it was an interesting experience as we talked with the people just waiting to get into the venue. I hope they do better on their sales, because I know people complained a lot about not being able to buy glow sticks and stuff. But and then I think that's all the news I have. Any other news or anyone?
Nope.
I guess that's it. We'll say bye. I hope Vinny, Nick, and DragonWarrior out there are having a nice time. I know you got work and all this other stuff happening, so I hope you'll be able to join us sometime in the future. Other than that, I guess it's goodbye, everyone. Bye-bye.